There are several different ways of making lace. Some pieces of lace are made of individual pieces who are then joined up, and other pieces of lace are made from a central point or from an edge and then worked outwards. This is a classic doily. You start at the center and you follow a pattern and work your way to the edge. The way you usually do this is from a pattern, so you will be told how many stitches you need, what each row consists of, and following the pattern you end up with a flat piece of lace. Collars are often made like that too, so this is a collar, and all you do is you make the first row and then you add the various rows according to the pattern, and you get a quite predictable outcome, so you know exactly what you're going to end up with. The size will be affected by the hook size and by the thread size. Then you have a different type of lace which consists of different motifs. So this particular doily was made in 5 parts. So you first made the various motifs and then you joined them up. The outer motifs are slightly different from the inner one, and you would have started here in the middle and worked your way up to here, and then you would have made each separate motif and joined it up to make a piece of lace. This is another type of lace. This is where you're adding an edge to a piece of material, so you wouldn't necessarily know how many stitches you need because it depends on the size of the piece of cloth you're edging. So that would be a little bit more difficult because you'd have to take account of how many stitches you need for each part of the pattern. But again, this would have been made with separate motifs that were joined on to a central piece. This is another example of in fact this is the very first collar I made. This was made out of individual motifs that were joined up to form a collar. This is another example. So once you've made the motifs and you join them, you make a top row to finish it off. This is a piece where I've edged a piece of cloth with some lace. So again, I just had the piece of cloth. I first made up a base row and then I crocheted out to the edge. This is again an example of motifs that were joined up. On this one, the outer edge was crocheted separately. So this is a piece of classic Irish crochet. In this particular technique, you make individual motifs and you then stitch them down onto a piece of cloth and then you join them up. You also make an edge, so you know exactly how big your piece is going to be. So in my next video I'm going to show you how to make a project like this from scratch, how I go about it. The way I do it isn't necessarily the right way, it's the way I use it. Every person will have a different technique,